One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every 8 seconds a new child is born. On the contrary, every 12 seconds a human dies. That means that every 15 seconds the world has a net gain of one person. In 2012, the world population exceeded 7 billion human beings. With the world's birth rate exceeding the world's death rate by a ratio of 8 to 12, the world's population is constantly increasing. With the larger population to stabilize, the basic necessity of food for human beings has become extremely important to survival. In today's society, 805 million people in the world do not have enough food to survive. That means that 1 in 9 people on Earth are left starving. In order to keep the agricultural industry alive and continue to feed the world during times of crisis, scientists created GMOs, genetically modified organisms, to help ensure the well-being of plants. In order to fully understand the importance of GMOs, one must understand what a GMO is. A GMO is a genetically modified organism that resulted from a laboratory process where genes from the DNA of one species are extracted and artificially forced into the genes of an unrelated plant. GMOs are not a natural part of nature and cannot happen through crossbreeding. Because living organisms have natural barriers to protect themselves against the introduction of DNA from a different species, genetic engineers must force the DNA from one organism to another. Now that we have gone into detail about what a GMO is and how it is made, the next step to discovering whether they have a positive or negative effect on society is to figure out how they are used. While most of the effects GMOs have on a society are positive, some skepticism has arisen about them. Many people fear that when a GMO is introduced to a new region, the DNA will affect other crops. For instance, once a genetically modified organism is introduced to a new environment, it is capable of passing on its genes through pollen. That pollen can affect wild relatives of that plant. Rogue genes may spread over into weed populations and create superweeds, which would destroy all indigenous plants and decimate ecosystems. Critics often look at the glass half empty instead of the glass half full. While pest resistant is good for drought, plants that resist pests may also kill beneficial insects such as bees, or kill a huge number of pests or pest species. Animals that feed on pests, including birds, could be seriously affected and die. Lastly, critics of GMOs believe that they are harmful for humans. Numerous health problems have increased after GMOs were introduced in 1996. The percentage of Americans with 3 or more chronic illnesses jumped from 7 to 13% in just 9 years. Food allergies skyrocketed, and disorders such as autism, reproductive disorders, digestive problems, and others are on the rise. However, people don't believe that research says otherwise and that GMOs are not bad. Monsanto told us that Agent Orange, PCBs, and DDT were safe. So why should we believe them when they say GMOs are safe? Even with the issues listed above, GMOs still have a more positive than negative effect on society. GMOs can resist plague, grow faster, grow in areas that were before considered unyieldable, and add vitamins to crops. The main focus of GMOs are to sustain crops in times of crises. This is extremely important in modern day society. With the growing population, one of the biggest problems is food control. Error and natural disasters in the agricultural industry can lead to starvation. GMO crops are insect resistant, creating less of a need for pesticides. Toxic bacteria are added to the crops to make them insect repellent and safe for humans at the same time. Therefore, if GMOs are used, a population does not have to worry about plagues damaging the crop yield for that year. More importantly, GMOs are seed-producing, faster-growing crops, which lead to more food being able to be produced in a shorter amount of time. Because of quicker production and larger yields, GMO crops can go a long way towards solving world hunger because they are planted anywhere. Before GMOs, crops could only be planted where there was good soil. The key advantage of GM crops is that they are drought and salt resistant plants and can be cultivated in areas where virtually no plants will grow at present, creating a food supply for whole populations of people who struggle to eat. Additionally, specific benefits can be introduced. For instance, rice modified to contain vitamin A could prevent millions of children from going blind from a vitamin A deficiency. Due to all the positive GMOs bring to the world, it's no wonder that 80% of the United States' conventional processed foods come from GMOs. Although more research is needed to ensure its safety, GMOs could potentially solve world hunger.